Football is a game of trends and counter trends. GMs, coaches, they have ideas and philosophies how they want to accentuate their side of the ball. And then they get the talent to drive those philosophies. And then in the pee-wees and the college, those talent pools tend to gravitate towards what coaches most want. And so you have this rise of philosophies that find weak holes in what the current NFL is about, and it rises to prominence, and then the copycat league follows along suit. But then over time, this other idea starts coming in on how to offset it. And so you have a rise of this new trend to tear down the old trend. The NFL, in a lot of ways, is like a philosophical ecosystem. You have adaption and natural selection as the king is on top of the hill and then the upstart comes in to tear down Mufasa. And I think that's what we're heading for now. I've said for a few years now that pass balance is the new trend on offense. And this is because for the longest period of time, we've been a fun ball league. Brady and Manning went to the league and cried about their receivers getting roughed up. And then the passing stats went off the charts. I think the very next season, like 7 or 8 all-time records were broken. And we know, pass. And the running back kind of went down to really almost nothing. They were getting like $2 an hour at some point. But I'm going to go over 2 articles today. One from Bucky Brooks and in major form, and touch on an old Warren Sharp article. And I'm going to work on both the Bills and the Dolphins, and to a lesser extent the Jets, how these philosophies on offense and philosophy on defense is going to collide. I don't know how it's going to play out, but it's very clear when you go over these 2 articles and you really think about it, what I'm saying is true. I don't know the results. I'm hoping my Dolphins win, of course, and I'm sure if you're a Bills fan or a Jets fan, you're hoping converse. But you're going to find some very interesting stuff here. These are 2 really, really good articles, and I think I'm going to try to do my best to illuminate the information there. So I'm going to cover all that, the Bucky Brooks major, and then Warren Sharp to focus on the Bills offense and to show that, you know what, Diggs is gone. It's a loss of talent. But a lot of people are writing off this offense and writing off the Bills. But from a philosophical standpoint, they're heading in a direction they want to go, and it's very clear. And then the Dolphins, they have their own view, and they've added a lot of pieces. And so how's this all going to play out? So I'm going to talk about that. That's my deal. So, guys, I appreciate all you do. I'm going to get the lives back up soon. I got no AC. I'm still trying to get the AC. I moved up into space in the mountains, and it's a little process to get things done. I want to get the electric and internet down so I don't get cut off like I did the last time, but it's coming back, guys. And for the members, my tech guys added this stuff, and I kind of knew it was there. I'm going to start doing special stuff for the members. Members, you can email me at curtis@aceperhead.com. I'm going to do a live just for you guys and cover the topics you want to talk about. You want to pop on there, you can pop on there in the comment section or in the live. We could talk and discuss and go back and forth. But I want to do something for you because I'm really grateful for all you do. But for everybody that supports me, Bills fans, Jets fans, Dolphin fans, any fans, I'm a football first guy, and I love to study football. So I want to give you a shout out for all that you do. Because without you and without my sponsor, Ace Per Head, this show ain't going down. Ace Per Head's betting software is the premier white label platform for bookies to manage their players and grow their sportsbook operation. Click the link in the description below to get set up in minutes. Ask for the Curtis promo and get a special introductory discount. All right, so Bucky Brooks is the article I'm going to cover in most detail. I'm going to just highlight certain areas. It's going to be 6 points. He played, and now he's an analyst. I think he's a great guy, real nice guy, real smart. I think he covers football the way it should be. Humble, approachable, intelligent, really focusing on the game. I love Bucky Brooks. Don't agree with everything he says, but I don't agree with everything I say. But I'd love to meet this guy. And I think you should support him. The link will be down below for both the Warren Sharp and the Bucky Brooks article. And remember, this is going to be about 12 personnel, and that's, I think, where the league is sort of heading, but overall pass balance, but the Bills themselves. And he played with Mark Shimura and Keith Jackson, and the Y was a conventional tight end, and the H is the move tight end. They were very difficult with Brett Favre, and you know how good they were. So he kind of knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to get into the article here and tie it into the Dolphins' defense and how it's going to match up with this Bills offense that is got a clear plan. Whether it works out or not, we'll see. So point one. As the NFL evolves into a passing league built around 3 wide receiver sets, some team builders are looking to zig while the rest of the league zags. Instead of trotting out 11 personnel, 3 wides, 1 tight end, 1 running back, to spread out defenses stocked with extra defensive backs and hybrid linebackers. That's what the Bills like to do, but also really even more so the Dolphins. Shrewd schemers are utilizing old school formations of 12 personnel, 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, and 1 running back to create and exploit mismatches all over the field. And that's what it's about. It's just move and counter move. And it happens within a game, within a series, within a season. But then over the grand scheme, the concepts are going back and forth. Doesn't mean this is going to end up being correct, but it's clear this pass balance, 2 tight end, more running attack is trying to overthrow these defenses that are playing so light and so pass oriented because they've had to compensate for a fumble league. So it'll be very interesting to see if the pass fumble offense and the defense meant to stop that will get torn down or remain supreme. Point 2. While I don't expect the tight end tandem to directly lead to a title in 2024, the recent increase in 12 personnel usage could be an indicator that more squads will employ the throwback approach during the upcoming season. Old cycle is looking to usurp the new cycle, but it says it's not going to directly, but maybe indirectly. And if you look at KC, look at how KC made their hay over the last 2 Super Bowl victories. It really wasn't Mahomes. It was defense, running the football, and tight games, using your tight end. Not 2 tight end, but we can get more into that later. But still, this is going to be the focus of the AFC East, if not the league. Lots of teams are moving towards this, and that's what I talked about in the draft. Who people are drafting is talking about what the vision is for the NFL. Okay, now point 3. Last season, teams utilized 12 personnel on 19.3% of offensive snaps, ranking behind only 11 personnel, 62.1% for the most common usage. 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, and 3 wide receivers. That ranked as the second 12 personnel rate of 12 personnel usage deployment in a single season during the next-gen stats era since 2016. While it's not a drastic leap in the previous season's rate of 18.3, teams like Green Bay could be jump-starting a 12 personnel trend, among others. They ran at 32.9% of the time last year. Now, if you've been a fan of me for a while, I talked about in 2021, we ran 12 personnel like 65 or 68% of the time, which was crazy. But Gesicki couldn't block. He was a late clock guy. And Smythe, he wasn't really, he's nothing more than a journeyman. So there was no threats there, and we couldn't run out of 12 personnel. So we used it a ton. It was ineffective, but that does not mean the personnel grouping was ineffective. But when you've got 2 tight ends like Chamora and Jackson, or you remember Gonzalez and Gronk, which was unbelievable, really, a pass-catching threat in Gonzalez, a pass-catching threat and an excellent blocker at Gronk. This was a brutal, it's very difficult to stop. And I'm going to talk, he's going to talk, and I'm going to go over why it is that way. No AC here yet, guys, so I'm sweating, so don't mind me. So, now, point 4, 2 tight end formations force the opposition to defend an extra gap while negating the advantages of a 2 tight end formations force the opposition to defend the extra gap while negating the advantages of an 8-man front. So, 2 tight ends, you bring the guys up because you got to stop that extra guy in there because you got to protect a different gap for running the football. But then it creates a problem because now you got 8-man fronts like, Flores and all the guys like do it. They bring all the guys up. You don't know who's blitzing. But now you've got 7 guys on the line of scrimmage and you got your running back in the backfield, it gets difficult with the bodies there to deliver on time. And it puts more pressure on the secondary because there is a little bit extra time. That's why Dolphins, in order to compensate for their offensive line, they ran a lot of play action and multiple tight end sets. Anyway, this group also limits coverage selection due to 4 vertical threats that can emerge. This is the problem here. When you don't have, like we had in 21, Gesicki, who is, but it's really late clock vertical threat, and Smythe isn't. Then they can play crunch because they don't worry so much. You could put one high safety to cover the 2 receivers, or if you fear like maybe 2 or 3 guys, you could put 2 up there, but you still can crunch up. But when you got 4 guys, 2 receivers, 2 tight ends that can threaten vertical, then you got to play off a little bit more. You got to keep the leverage, but that opens stuff underneath for the run game, and it creates problems. It's a conundrum. With the offense also capable of setting up mismatches by forcing linebackers to handle the quickness of a flex tight end and pitting overwhelmed defensive backs against the physicality of the wide tight end, I believe the increased usage of 12 personnel should be a no-brainer for play callers. So all these defenses have been geared up for talent and philosophy to stop 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver, pass-heavy offenses. But if you jump on the cycle early and you have 2 excellent tight ends and you can run the football, it will create problems for these defenses that have limited fun ball. And I'll get back to the Bucky Brooks one, but I'm going to go to the Warren Sharp article. And it's a great article. And I talked about this last year, but he was going over the 49ers versus the Ravens. And it said 49ers early rundowns in the first half against the Ravens, 9.9 yards per carry, 5.6 before, 4.3 after. They should have blown them out, but Shanahan did what Shanahan does, like he did in the Super Bowl. You start running the football and you got him on the ropes, and then you just want to be a genius and start throwing the football. He called 13 dropbacks passes for 62% passing time, even with all this success on the ground. And for what he got from it, 6.6 yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, 46% completion percentage. Now, that is somebody who did not see what was going down. And we've seen this before with McDaniel. I think he's gotten past it. But and you even saw it with the Bills early on, but when Brady took over for Shaky Bones Dorsey, he changed things a ton, and he has been more physical. There were guys in the wings that they're waiting to break out, and they've drafted guys. It all looks like they're pointing towards his 12 personnel, pass bounce, more physical approach, and it'll be interesting to see how that philosophy goes against the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins have Holland, 210, Poyer, who's a good guy to come up in the box and handles. Not great, but pretty good. Ramsey, 6'1", 208, great. Walker, we brought in 6'1", 235 linebacker. Brooks, 6'1", 245. So we brought some beef in to handle this, but then you got your Cam Smiths, you got your Fullers, you got your who's strong, but a little bit smaller. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But let's get back to the article here and wrap it all up. And this is the most interesting part. Perhaps this is why Buffalo Bills often leaned into tactics to take advantage of Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox as a dynamic duo. Joe Brady went a step further after replacing Ken Dorsey as an offensive coordinator at midseason, mixing in some heavy formations with exotic empty sets to test defenses. The combination of personnel and concepts put defenders in constant conflict with quarterback who loves throwing to targets who can expand the strike zone with their size and athleticism. Buffalo could ramp up its 12 personnel usage more with rookie Keon Smith lining up at the wide receiver and giving Josh Allen 3 big body pass catches to target. 2 tight ends that are good, that can catch, and receivers is very difficult for light boxes and pass-heavy defenses, for sure. It also threatens linebackers who are one-dimensional. But if the quarterback is like Brady, it's like Breeze, or like Tua, it's one sort of threat. But when you got a guy like Lamar or Love or Allen, and mostly Allen because he's physical enough to run inside and he's quick enough to run outside, it creates a whole different conundrum. If you're a defense and you see the backfield get vacated, you breathe a sigh of release and realize that the quarterback, more than likely, he's not running. If he does, he's not going anywhere. And so you could just focus on the pass. And so it kind of puts the initiative to the defense. But when you've got a quarterback like Allen, Love, or like Lamar, who threatens to run, it keeps the initiative on the offense, and it creates a major problem. And this is why I think the loss of Diggs, if Coleman could step up, if Samuel could stay healthy and do his thing, if Kier can keep going, and they can find some of these other guys, these big guys, who they have to run block and to be good pass catchers and threats in the pass game, it's going to be very, very difficult, and it's going to be force Weaver to do some things. Now, the Ravens, they were unbelievable when on first down, they would get guys off schedule. You would run the football in their super light look, and they would stop you, or you would do like the Ravens, the 49ers. You run the football and be successful, and then want to be a genius, and then you would get off schedule because you start throwing too much. But and when that happened, they were number one in the league in lowest completion percentage for the quarterback. But when the success on the first down happened, they fell to bottom of the league, bottom 3 or 4 as far as completion percentage. So it's that first down run, the offense being on schedule, that really created problems. And so big piece is going to be, can the Dolphins defense keep the Bills off schedule? And that lack of really super elite receiving talent then becomes a problem. But if they can stay on schedule, that small front, light box, and heavy pass defense the Dolphins are going to run, it's going to be a problem when it's a two-way go with the run and pass, and you get these big bodies. Now, you got Claypool, who the Bills brought in. We had, and we thought he was going to do some of this little, that H tight end kind of look. He's 6'4", 238. Will he be something? I don't know. He's big. Coleman, 6'3", 6'4", 213, 215, depending on how you look at it. They passed on Worthy. It makes sense because the small, quick guy is Samuel. They need the big guy. Parasols doesn't fit the bill. Leggett over Coleman is going to be a very interesting watch this year, because if you go over Leggett's most of his scouting reports all said he can run block. And we know that, he's got to live in a tree, he's got to grow, but he's a threat. So he played a very big, clear part, and he's successful at something they need for what they're trying to do. Where Coleman, they said he should be much better than he can get much better than he is, but he lacks a little intensity in the run game. So it will be very interesting to see there. Then they got Shorter, 6'4", 223 wide receiver. Shavers, 6'6", 211. Kincaid, 6'3", 240. Knox, 6'4", 254. And then Gillum, who does pass catch, but he's more like a fullback, but he can play a little H, a little full, 6'4", 244. So there's some big guys there. And can they offset this Dolphins small look and other teams that are out there that like that? Because if you look at KC, they like to bring guys up all in that box and to blitz you on those key downs. But now if you're running two tight end sets, it does complicate. So it's not just for the Dolphins, but it is very, very interesting. So last point of the article, we could see 12 personnel crowd grow in 2024 with the Ravens and Las Vegas Raiders featuring intriguing collection of tight ends. As more teams discover the advantage of utilizing multi-tight end stats, the rise of 12 personnel packages could coincide with more wins for creative play callers. And this is the pass balance. You run to set up the pass. And if you just keep passing against pass defenses, then they got the edge on you, then you're going against the wall. But when you can run inside, you can be physical, you can run play action, and those tight ends can fake their blocks and get out into space in those play actions, and they can block for you in a run game, and then they can even threaten you and put pressure on your linebackers and your smaller DBs. It creates an edge for the offense. Will this 12 personnel pass balance, reestablishing the run game to some degree, be the old trend rising up to take down the current trend of fun ball? And will this rise in pass balance two tight end set tear down the current trend of light boxes, nickel all day, that has been used to counter the fun ball? It is very interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out. I know that they're a little underpowered, the Bills, as far as quick strike. And if you're in, say, a nice environment, it might suit the Dolphins better. But I do know that in a bad weather and cold weather environments, this offense will suit them better. So there's so many things to go into it. Personnel, situations, injuries, but these are two clear philosophical moves. There is a whole soup of philosophies fighting for ownership and domination in the NFL. I am very excited to see how it plays out. I don't know, but I know that this is a clear philosophical matchup. So get ready for it. I'm going to do some more coverage for the Dolphins on their defense. With this philosophy, get into the Sharp article and then the Bills formations and the Jets and see how it all plays out. It's going to be very, very, very interesting. I got some more film for my Dolphins fans, but I hope you enjoyed, Bills fans. I think you got a clear philosophy. I think the philosophy can challenge the Dolphins' philosophy on defense, but the Dolphins have done tons to suit that philosophy, so we just got to let it play out. But I do believe the Bills have a plan, and so do the Dolphins. Let's see how those plans play out. Exciting season, guys. So anyway, Curtis saying thanks for stopping by. Appreciate all you do. As my daughter wants me to say, Curtis out. Start building your own online sports book today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.